You're listening to Trust Talks, the podcast that brings you real stories and insights from people doing incredible work in our community and beyond. From everyday experts to extraordinary collaborators, whether you're here to learn, get inspired, share a laugh, or just enjoy some honest conversation, we're glad that you're tuning in. Hello and welcome to Trust Talks, the podcast where we dive into all things mental and physical health. Well, that's assuming that this pilot episode doesn't get us cancelled. My name's Matt.
And I'm Tanya. Yes, this is our very first episode, so fingers crossed it's not our last. We're kicking things off today with a feel-good topic that I think anyone can relate to. Pets and the amazing benefits they bring to our mental health.
So whether you've got a dog, a cat, or even like a pet tarantula, there's something special about the bond that we share with animals.
Tarantula? Really? Let's not scare our listeners off, Matt, in the first few minutes.
Yeah, fair enough, Tanya. But the truth is that pets do come in all shapes and sizes, and today we're going to be talking about how they can make such a positive difference to all of our lives.
Well said, Matt. And today we've got some fantastic guests lined up for you. Emma and her pet therapy dog, Cooper, is in the house.
Perfecto. That should be for a cat, shouldn't it? Perfecto.
Woof,
Oh
woof.
dear, we've already started the terrible jokes. So sit back.
Downhill now.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, yeah. Sit back and relax, and we'll jump into this awesome topic.
Woohoo! Very clever.
We've got two very special guests in the studio with us today, one of whom has decided to fall asleep under my chair. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Well, my name's Emma and I work as a volunteer for Pets as Therapy, and I take my dog Cooper, who's a 7-year-old border terrier, into two different placements. One's a nursing home and one is Lymington Hospital on the stroke ward, and we've been doing it for just over 3 years now.
And how did you get into Pets as Therapy? Was it something you'd wanted to do for a long time, Emma, or did Cooper turn around to you one day and say, you know what, Mum, when I'm older, I want to be a pat dog?
So I am a nurse by background, and towards the end of COVID, sort of 21, I needed to take some time away from work just for personal reasons, for my own sort of mental health. And I spent a lot of time with Coops, and he was very instrumental to my sort of recovery, I suppose, as you want to call it. He, come out on walks for me, just come and sit with me.
That kind of sixth
when I was
sense.
reading or just, whatever. He was just there all the time. And towards the end of sort of that time and me going back to work, I started to sort of think I'd known about Pets as Therapy for a long time and considered doing it with our first boarder, but never did in the end. But really started to seriously consider Pets as Therapy and realising just what an asset Cooper could be. So we started to look into it, and that just gave me as well a little bit of a focus for getting myself back to work, sort of concentrating on something that wasn't just me. So yeah, we contacted Pets as Therapy and we booked in an assessment for the little man.
So what does that involve, Emma, in assessment? Like, what are the criteria to become a Pets as Therapy dog?
So they've got to be pretty chilled.
Which he really is.
Cooper is.
We can definitely vouch for that, Matt.
They have got to be easy to handle. So if people obviously are wanting to stroke them or have them on their bed, they've got to be happy to do that. Obviously, Cooper's a great size for doing that, but there are a variety of range of sizes of dogs. And there are some cats as well. So the main criteria really is that they're friendly, that they're easy to handle, that if they're offered a treat, they'll take it. And also in terms of, just sitting, being able to sit with people and be quite happy be friendly. So for instance, we go on the stroke ward at Lymington. If they wanted to use, say, a brush, or they want to stroke him, it's almost a little bit of kind of physio for them. You know, I can see that they've got an arm that they're perhaps not using as well to stroke Cooper with that arm, or they might, like I say, want to brush him or offer him a treat. So all of that, the dogs need to be happy to have all of that and not be faced by it. So effectively friendly, easy to handle, and if they're offered a treat, they take it nicely, not jumping up, not licking. Once you've done all of that assessment, and you then look at what area you want to work in, so they have a list of different establishments for wherever you live, and then you contact that establishment and arrange to go and meet to see if it's a fit. So there's lots and lots of different environments that they can go into that you may know your dog would be suited to a certain environment. So I know Cooper's pretty chilled, and that he would be happy in sort of quite a chilled, low-key environment, which the nursing home and the hospital is.
So he's naturally a very chilled dog.
Very.
So there was no training involved?
No training at all. Just your own natural, happy, chilled out, happy to be handled little dog.
Oh, he's just been sat under my feet. He's found a friend.
Are you finding it therapeutic,
I would
Matt?
say, yeah, I am quite chill right now. So
He's doing his job.
What does a typical day then look like for you, you know, to see some of our patients in the rehab ward?
So we go on, like I say, every other Friday. We arrive. He does a very good greeting at the door and lets everybody know that he's arrived.
Where he shakes his little bum.
Shakes his little bum, has a good squeak, goes through the door, and then he knows that we go into the office to check of who wants to be seen. And then we just start to work our way through the list of names that we've been given. And then we just move around the patients really on the list for however long they want us to be there. It's very relaxed. We just go in, get a bit of a gauge as to what they want. Do they want him to be sat on the bed? Do they want him to be sat on their knee? Do they want him to just be on the floor? I tend to just chat generally a lot about the same kind of things really, you know. How long have you been in? You know, how are you feeling? Do you have any pets yourself? And then once we've sort of chatted around and we've worked our way around, we just go back to the office, hand our list back in, let them know that we've done our duty for that time. And it can be anything from an hour to an hour and a half. For us, it doesn't look like much, but for him, he's taken in a lot of different senses. And probably absorbing quite a lot of people's feelings as well. Generally, he's pretty happy to see whoever, and he always stops off at the staff as well, because he's obviously got to know the staff. There was one gentleman at Christmas that we'd seen a few times, and when we went, he said, I've bought the staff a hamper. When you go, please check it, because there's some treats in there for Cooper, because he's part of the team too. Oh. And that just made me feel quite like, oh gosh. The amount of people say, I don't think you realise what bringing Cooper here means. You know, it really means a lot to all of us. The amount of sort of positive comments that he's had, you come away feeling really quite proud of him. And it's really nice that we can, through Pets as Therapy, do the work, and it is literally, you know, it's a charity, it's all voluntary, so people taking their own pets into the hospitals and you know, other environments. It's all done in people's own time with their own pets. So you know, it's great that we've got that organisation to be able to do that, but also that we've got the volunteers.
What do you know? What other like animals you guys have got on the books? Have you got like horses?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen any
piglets.
We've got cats.
You've got cats.
Yeah,
that's
there's
cool.
not many, I don't think, but there are some cats that go in as well. But it's mainly dogs, lots of different sizes, shapes and sizes, and cats.
So you touched on how you see the effects Cooper has on the patients as well as the staff. What about the effects on Cooper? Do you see anything in his change of behaviour?
He's really funny actually, because we've got a rescue dog at home as well. And whenever the leads come out, they both obviously know they're going for a walk. But whenever I just get Cooper, so he only has the same collar and lead for his therapy work. I don't use it for anything else. And whenever I get it out, Our other dog doesn't even budge. She doesn't move off the couch. She's just like, no, it's not for me. Cooper runs around the coffee table, squeaking, goes to the front door, and he's ready. He's like, right, come on, where are we going? And I get pulled to the car. I then get pulled from the car park after we've parked up into the ward.
So he's really excited.
He absolutely loves it, and he just loves people. Like, he's, you know, we've had a few dogs, but he's the only dog I've known for us that if he meets a group of people, if one of them says hello to him, he has to say hello to each and every one of them before he'll move on. He refuses to move until everybody's said hello to him. So he's very much a people dog.
So here's a question. Why do you think we as humans relate so much to animals and pets in particular?
I think it's because they live in the moment. They just take everything in their stride. They, you know, like I've brought Coops in here. It's a completely alien environment to him. I'm nervous because it's something that I've not done before. He just walks in, sits down. He's pretty chilled out. And I think it's company. It's someone to talk to that listens and doesn't answer back. They just very much live in the moment. And I think for me particularly, now when I go out for walks, I just love watching them just enjoy. And it just really brings you back into the here and now. You forget all your worries. You forget everything that's kind of going on in your life. And you just enjoy that moment.
That's something we always, especially as a, you know, working within mental health, that's something that really does help.
Yeah.
We're always advocating, you know, not thinking of the past or the future, but being in the present moment and being mindful of that. And I think you're very right. It's proven that pets really do help in that space.
Well, you get a lot of patients who have got either pets at home that they are not able to see, or people that like pets but don't have them at home. We've even come across people that have said, not really keen on dogs, but yeah, I'll say hello. And by the time we've been with them 5 minutes, they're smiling, chatting to Cooper. We had a lady on Friday who said she had a really bad headache. We were just sat chatting for a while and she was asking about Cooper. And we were there probably a good 10 minutes plus. As we were getting ready to leave, she just suddenly went, I've not got a headache anymore. And I said, oh, well, that's the power of being distracted by a gorgeous little dog.
I think I have a cat and he helps me a lot, especially like if I'm not feeling great, he can sense that, and just by him being close to me, I can feel that, you know, it relaxes me and makes me feel better.
And Cooper's very good, I have to say. Even with family members, he's been known to hunt them out and go and sit with them and just curl up with them. And a couple of them have said to me, oh, you know, I was really upset the other day and I was in tears and Cooper came and sat with me. He's definitely got that knowing about him.
That kind of sixth sense.
Yeah.
It was really interesting that lady said that. I hadn't clocked that she'd stopped saying about a headache. And then all of a sudden she just sort of went, oh, my headache's gone. But that's what happens. If you can be kind of distracted, it just really helps to sort of settle your mood.
There's more and more research and studies being done on the actual benefits that animals have on mental health. Some of them that you've just touched on is like, you know, reducing stress and increasing mood, but it also is known to lower blood pressure and, you know, help with anxiety. And we see often people gravitate to places where animals are, cat cafes or, you know, equine therapy for young children. So there's so much benefits to having pets, and I can imagine, especially in a hospital environment, that must be very rewarding for you to see that. How does that make you feel when you hear these comments?
It's lovely. I mean, I'm so proud of Coops that, you know, you do get a little bit emotional sometimes when you go in and, you know, you've sat with half a dozen people. And a lot of it as well is chatting. So you'll chat about Cooper, you'll chat about, you know, maybe pets that they've had or pets that they've got now. And it's just really calming. It's just really relaxing. Like I say, it's therapy without them realising that it's therapy. It breaks up their day because their days are quite long, you know, and in hospital they have lots of procedures and things like that happening. So to just have time out of that and it be a bit of normality, I think it's just really nice for them.
Whenever we know as well just how nature also, you know, promotes a lot of the feelings that I think pets do. But it's that same thing where, you know, if you're feeling a bit down or you want to, you know, just have that to switch off. I find myself in scrolling on, like, you know, little animal videos or whatever for hours.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the green prescriptions that are coming out for like forest bathing, and maybe they need to have it green prescriptions in all the hospitals that you get prescribed a bit of Cooper therapy. Maybe not.
That'd be great.
Not all the hospitals, because we couldn't spread you around that much, could we? But equivalent Coopers.
Yeah, there is definitely something about animal videos that, again, it just like releases endorphins or something. I don't know, you know, the amount of like cat videos that are out there, and people just love to watch a cat video of, I don't know, a cat knocking something off a table or...
Yeah, something so like, but so
we all, like, you can all relate to it, and it all just... It's, yeah.
I think it's on anyone's feed, something with an animal for sure.
I think they just make you smile. I mean, even just walking through the hospital, the amount of smiles he gets as we go trotting past up to the ward.
It's interesting, like, as you say, some people, they don't relate to other humans, but you've got people who may just have their one dog, and they don't want any engagement from any other humans, but their life revolves around their dog.
Yeah.
Yes, their family.
It is, yeah. It's
well, they do
it's
become
another
family, don't they? They get under your skin.
Yeah.
They have their own little characters. And I think because we've been going, I think it'll be about 3 years in April to the ward, everybody knows him now. So they kind of, you know, he's become part of their little team.
Yeah.
And I think equally, like I say, for the staff, it's really nice because it breaks up their day. It gives them, you know, a chance to just sit and have a little therapy with Coops. And, you know, like I say, the amount of people that just stop what they're doing and just get down on all fours and have a cuddle with him.
And I think more and more, you know, I think people in the past used to look at animals, not that they were not on the same level as, let's say, their family, but, you know, like you'd feel bad. Like if you're, I mean, I remember when I was in primary school and my cat passed away and I was, you know, besides myself. And people were a bit like, oh, you know, it's just a cat or it's just an animal. It's like, but that was my special person. Like that was my family. And I think more and more people are more accepting of that. They're realizing the importance animals hold. I mean, in a recent study, I saw 90%, if they did a research study in the UK, consider their pets as family. So why wouldn't you be upset if something happened to them?
Well, you spend a lot of time with them. You know, they're 24/7, you know, that you have to be accountable to look after them, feed them, take them out for walks. And like I say, for myself, I couldn't have kind of gotten through my break from work and back to work doing my job if it hadn't have been for Coops. And I know a lot of people may think that sounds quite corny, but, you know, he made all the difference because he was literally with me 24/7. And if I wasn't feeling great and I was just in bed, he would be curled up with me. So you're never on your own, and you always feel like you've got somebody there that cares.
Totally.
And I think that makes a huge difference. And I think for the people that we see on the ward, you know, you go in, they might have been crying, they might have been feeling really fed up, they might have had a headache. Cooper's with them sort of 5-10 minutes and they've forgotten, and they just feel like a normal person, not in hospital. And I think for me, that's kind of what makes it all worthwhile doing it.
Emma, thank you so much for coming in today to speak to us. Do you want to talk a little bit about Pets as Therapy?
Yeah, like how can people get involved if they'd also like to be part of this and making a difference in people's lives?
Yeah, so like I said before, really, if you are interested in joining Pets as Therapy, they are a charity. So it is on a voluntary basis that you would take your pet into an establishment. You would just go onto their website and book yourself in an assessment. Really easy to do. You just meet up with someone in your area. They then will just assess your dog, and the assessment is very straightforward. And then after that, once all of that's gone through, you can just look at the list of establishments that they have in your area, choose the one that you think would be suitable for your pet, contact them, and then you just agree a time and a place and how often and whenever, and off you go.
And if you want to follow Cooper's antics, I believe you're on Instagram as Cooper_Pets as Therapy Dog. And if you do want more information about the charities, that's Pets as Therapy, they do also have a website, which is petsastherapy.org.
Thank you so much for joining us, Emma and Cooper.
You're welcome. Thank
you
you
very
for
much.
having us.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Trust Talks. We hope you've enjoyed our chat about pets and the incredible ways that they can support our mental health.
A big thank you to our guests, Emma and Cooper, who shared some amazing insights on the healing benefits of pet therapy.
If you've got any thoughts about today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us on socials. Just give a search for Hampshire and Isle of Wight Healthcare.
Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode.